Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you 3 dresses with contrasting colors. So the first dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 1 yard of about 56-57 inch wide cotton satin by the designer Carolina Herrera that I purchased from Move Fabrics store in New York City's garment district about 2.5 years ago. So it's been quite a while. And so here is a close-up look of the texture and the print of this cotton satin. And I really love this. It's a bit of a kind of a 60s-ish look. So I just really love it. So the reason this fabric has been in my stash all this time was because I bought this fairly early on in my sewing journey, and I don't know what possessed me. I only purchased 1 yard of this fabric. I think at that time I wanted to make a sleeveless shift dress, but then later on I changed my mind, and so just have not figured out what to make with it. And I've been making this dress, and also the other dresses that I will share with you today are pretty much made from the same basic shift dress pattern that I talked about first in the Toile de Juillet-esque blue dress in my video 61, and I used the same dress for my video 64 and 65. And then also made some modifications that I talked about in my video 66. So please do check those videos out if you are interested in how I drafted this shift dress and pattern, and also what modifications I made to improve the fit on myself. So after the success of the dresses from video 64 and 65, especially the white linen dress from my video 65, I really just am in love with this shift dress pattern paired with this sort of very oversized V-shaped collar. I knew I wanted to make a contrasting a dress with a contrasting color. And so because actually the good thing about this shift dress pattern is that it really does not take much fabric at all. And so I started going through my stash for pieces of fabric that are sort of 1.5 yards or 1 yard. And so I came across this one, and immediately I knew this one would be the perfect choice for the dress today. And I'm very happy how it turned out. So what happened was, because I only had 1 yard of this fabric, so invariably that is not enough to cut out the standard full size of this shift dress. To cut out that shift dress at full length, I needed about 41 inches in length. But since I only got 1 yard of this fabric, and 1 yard is 36 inches, that clearly was not enough. So as a result, this dress is a bit on the shorter side. So as you can see here, it falls above my knees instead of the sort of at the knee length that I currently prefer. And also to cut out the sleeves, technically there was not enough at all. And so what I did was when I was playing with the pattern pieces, how to cut it, which really there was not a whole lot of flexibility, because this fabric actually has a little stretch, weft-wise. So I had to cut it this way. I cannot cut it cross grain anyway. And so when I was playing around with the pattern pieces, what to do, I figured out if I cut it in a certain way, I actually would be able to patch up 2 pieces of the scraps to form a sleeve. And so here is a picture of what a sleeve piece looks like. As you can see, there is a seam right down in the center here. So here you go. And so because of the correction of the shoulder seam that I talked about in my video 66. So now, I mean, actually this seam is not so obvious anyway, but as you can see now, that seam goes exactly, down the center of my arm, and it lines up with the shoulder seam here. So it lines up all very nicely, even though obviously it's not very obvious. But overall, I am really glad how I managed to squeeze this dress out of 1 yard of this fabric. One thing about the construction of this dress is that, as I mentioned earlier, this fabric has a bit of a stretch. My guess is probably about 2 to 3% elastane. And when I first started sewing garments, I was under the impression that a fabric with stretch would be more beginner friendly. But I cannot say that has been my experience. Actually, if anything, it has been the contrary. I just found it a little harder to get a very exact fit every time I used a fabric with a little stretch. So this one, when compared with the other two that I will share with you momentarily, it fits a bit more loosely. And also I find it a little harder to get a to be very, very exact in my sewing. So for example, this part, it's actually two separate color pieces. And somehow I could not get this point here to line up perfectly. It really just annoyed me so much. And so finally, after a few tries, I just couldn't get this part to line up. So what I did was I did something drastic. I just sewed up this part together, with white threads, of course, and then so now they lined up perfectly. So you know what? It's whatever works, and so I am very happy how it worked out. Even though really these days I don't buy anything with stretch at all, and I have not found fabrics with no stretch to be uncomfortable whatsoever, as long as the fit is right. I think it's perfectly comfortable. But still, anyway, I am very happy that I use this fabric, and I think this dress is a very good pairing with this fabric. So overall, I am very happy about how this one worked out. I lined this Carolina Herrera print dress with about 1.5 yards of rayon challis that I purchased from fabrichoseledirect.com. And because this dress is lined, so I am not feeling any of the seams, either at the at my sleeves or any other parts of the construction. And so that really makes this dress very comfortable to wear. So here is a quick video of this Carolina Herrera print, and I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch pointed toe heels in black. And because this dress is a bit on the short side, I also tried pairing this dress with black pantyhose. And so as you can see, so you can see them side by side. And I think I like them both very much, depending on what I want to do. I think for a daytime look, most likely I will pair this dress with the new color pantyhose. And for nighttime going out, even though I'm not really doing that, I think pairing it with the black pantyhose sort of jazz it up a bit, gives a bit more of a extra something for going out at night. But overall, I like both of them very much. The second dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from just under 1.5 yards of about 43-inch wide quilting cotton that I purchased from Joanne quite a while back. I think it's also at the very beginning of my sewing journey. And so here is a quick look of the print itself. I think it's some sort of a wheat flower kind of print. And in this case, it's short sleeves. And also, with this contrasting color that I drafted myself. So here, this is what it looks like. the fabric that I used for this dress is the leftover fabric from another shift dress project that I previously made using a vintage simplicity 6532 pattern that I shared with you in my video 13. And so after that one, I only had about under 1.5 yards. And so really that 1.5 yards of quilting cotton is really not enough to make much of anything. So even though I quite like this bright color, I just have not found a suitable project for the leftover portion until this one here. And so I was playing around with the pattern pieces to see how I can cut out the stress. And really the only way is to cut out short sleeves for this one because there was not enough for the 3/4 length sleeve. But still I managed to cut out a matching belt. So this is nice because originally the other dress there was no matching belt. That was before I figured out how to make a matching belt. And so now obviously because they're both from the same fabric, I could just now use this belt with the other dress. So that works out great. About the contrasting color for this dress, this color is self-drafted. It's actually incredibly easy to draft a flat collar, because it doesn't stand up in the back, it just sits flat. And I think I will do a sort of quick tutorial in the near future to show you how to do it, because then it's so easy, and once you learn how to do it, you can add any color, in any shape, V-shaped or this, to any neckline without having to purchase a new pattern ever again. And so that is both a money and a time saver. And so anyway, so this is, so this is what it looks like. This is about 3 inches, the final color, and the back looks like this. And so I don't know what happened because both collar pieces were cut out, at the same time and were sewn at the same time. But somehow one piece ended up being a bit shorter than the other. So one side is a bit further away from the zipper. But you know what? I just didn't feel like fixing it because I normally will wear my hair down anyway. So nobody would notice. So that is okay. Luckily, I'm not a perfectionist. I lined this orange dress with about 1.5 yards or maybe 1.75 yards of rayon challis that I also purchased from fabrichosaledirect.com. And one funny thing about this dress is that it looks kind of okay, average when it's on a hanger. But once I put it on, I really like it. I think maybe it brightens up my complexion a bit, because of the fairly bright orangey color. So overall I really love it, and I think obviously this is a better outcome than say if I love it a lot on the hanger but it looks okay when it's on me. So overall I'm really happy about that. And it's kind of funny, like now just with the simple addition of this color in a contrasting color, it really jazzes up this fabric. So compared with the other shift dress, this one looks a lot more interesting. So I really love it, even though I think the other one also is nice. It's a sort of a monochromatic look. And so I'm really glad now I have choices, depending on what my mood is. Either wear that one for a bit more of a simpler look, or for a more jazzed up look, I would just wear this one with this contrasting color. So here is a quick video of this orange dress, and I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch heels in mahogany. And originally when I was making up this dress, I had a bit of a concern that this dress may look a bit juvenile or just too young. But I didn't care anyway because since I'm making it myself as a hobby, I just went ahead with this combination anyway. But actually, I'm very pleasantly surprised that even though it looks, youngish, it does not look juvenile. And so I really quite like it. And it's still perfectly suitable for work. Obviously, it's not meant for a super formal kind of setting, but for an everyday professional setting, it is perfectly appropriate. So I'm very happy how it turned out. The final dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 1.5 yards of about 43-inch wide quilting cotton that I purchased from Joanne earlier this year over the summer. And the contrasting color is a Peter Pan color made from a navy blue linen that I have in my stash. And so here is a close-up look of the print of this fabric. As you can see, it's kind of like a nice square, but the square is not square. It's a bit, sort of a free form kind of square. So overall, I quite like it. And in this case, I paired it with the generic navy blue belt that I have at home. And so this is what it looks like. About the fabric for this dress was that I got this the fabric at Joanne during one of my sojourns over there over the summer earlier this year. And I really liked it, but they only had 1.5 yards of this fabric left. And so originally I was debating whether I should get it or not, because 1.5 yards of fabric really is, is very limited in what I can do with it. But since I really do like this print anyway, and so I got it anyway. And so when I was making the other two dresses that I shared with you earlier, today I thought that, okay, I could also make this dress with a contrasting color. And for this one, I decided I wanted to do a Peter Pan color. So this one is also self-drafted for, particularly for this neckline. And originally I had wanted to make the color in white. But after making up the orange one, the second dress for today, I decided, you know what, I don't need so many contrasting colors in white. And since this fabric is a black and white print, so the logical choice for the color of the color, if I'm not using white, is naturally navy. And the only solid navy color fabric that I have at home is some linen fabric. But I just kind of hold up the linen against this quilting cotton, and I think, it still looks fine. It did not look a very weird combination. I think from a texture point of view, it still looks great. And so that was what I decided to proceed with. And I'm very happy about the outcome. Since I only had 1.5 yards of this quilting cotton, so originally I was debating what to do with the sleeves. So here is a picture of the pattern layout. And as you can see, there was nothing to spare. And also the fact that the sleeves were cut across the grain. And because this is quilting cotton, has zero stretch whatsoever, and the print is a little bit different in terms of the directions, but I don't think anybody will really notice. So I decided, okay, I would just go ahead and cutting it out this way, i.e. the sleeves will be cut across the grain. Originally I was thinking, okay, or I could just cut out a short sleeve, and the remaining fabric would allow me to cut out a matching belt, and also either a pair or maybe 2 pairs of the collar for this dress. So originally I was debating whether I want a contrasting color or not. But then I decided, you know what, I still prefer to have a 3/4 length sleeve. Because I just really love this length. I don't know if it's my favorite, but definitely I'm a big fan of 3/4 length sleeves. So I decided, okay, you know what, I would still cut out the sleeves this way, despite the fact that it would be cut on the cross grain. But you know what, I've done it before with other quilting cotton, and with no ill effect whatsoever. It didn't stretch, it didn't do anything. As long as I cut, across grain and not obviously unbiased. And so overall, I am very happy about how this one works. I lined this navy blue Peter Pan collar dress with about 1.75 yards of rayon challis that I also purchased from fabrichosaledirect.com. This website is pretty much my go-to for rayon lining fabric because the quality is actually very good and the price is also excellent. And it's also a New York City garment district website. So it's always nice to support a local business. So overall, I'm really happy about how this one works out. And so here is a quick video of this navy blue dress. And I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch heels in black. And I really like it. You know what, even though I think I may have preferred to have been able to cut out a matching belt, but you know, it is what it is. I am very happy about how it works out. And so overall, really happy with the outcome of this dress, you know, considering I only had 1.5 yards of this quilting cotton. On a unrelated note, recently we've been having almost unseasonably warm weather in the New York City area. And so I took my dog out yesterday to a local park, and I was surprised to see little fishlings in the river actually, or in the stream. And so I just took a quick video. As you can see, it's actually really cool, you know, because then I was not really expecting to see the little fishlings because it is winter. But it is so nice to see them. And I think my dog George Costanza also really enjoyed the outing as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. And as you can see, you know, dresses with contrasting colors and perhaps even cuffs not only add interest to a garment, but also in a way could extend a limited amount of fabric, you know, what a limited amount of fabric can do. And so I think that is a win-win situation. So I'm very happy about how these 3 dresses turned out, and perhaps today's dresses will give you some ideas for your next project. So on that note, I hope you would stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye-bye.